They are accused of plotting the kidnapping and the murder of a woman who was visiting Las Vegas.
One of the suspects was at one point friends with the victim. The other, an NBA G League basketball player just released from his team.
A player from the NBA's minor G League is in major trouble. A kinky sex trap, a murder plot, and an involvement in a brutal death mean that a 27-year-old Chance Comanche's name will live on in infamy for all the wrong reasons. And this story gets wild, so make sure you subscribe, because this is the Church of Joe Stone, where we find the most shocking and provocative stories in the culture and take them to church. And what happened will have you trying to figure out why this G League player wanted to become a hitman. Yeah, it gets crazy. Now, for those who don't know, the G League is the NBA's official minor league, a preparation league of sorts for players, officials, and trainers to get them ready for the NBA. Chance Comanche played the last 2 seasons with the Stockton Kings, the G League affiliate of the Sacramento Kings. He's been averaging 14 points and 7 rebounds a game this season, but that's all over now because the Kings officially released him from his contract on December 15th. And rightfully so, because this is where things get crazy. You see, a young woman named Mariana Rogers, a medical assistant from Washington, was in Vegas partying with friends, but that trip would end tragically when she would be reported missing on the 7th. Now, it was later revealed that Rogers already had a plan in place to meet a 19-year-old woman named Sakari Harden, who was going to bring her boyfriend along. Now, who was her boyfriend? Chance Comanche. Now, this timeline would be important because the center was in town for a game just a day before Rogers went missing. While Rogers had been under the assumption that she was just going to be meeting Harden's boyfriend, that wasn't entirely true. The thing is, she had dated the G League player for about a year, and even though they broke up, they remained friendly. Now, obviously, they would be friendly enough if they were to plan and execute a murder together, but we'll get to that. See, this wasn't a heat of the moment kill. The basketball player and his ex-girlfriend apparently had been plotting the murder on November 30th. And all the information that I'm about to be giving you is coming directly from the basketball player who confessed, but again, we'll get to that. You see, apparently Harden had beef with Rogers, which was quickly escalating. There were reports that both women were ladies of the night, and there were issues between them that turned deadly over the possession of a Rolex. But the situation is still not completely clear. What we do know is that apparently Rogers had a legitimate reason to be mad at Harden.
Police found that Harden was upset with Rogers after she told mutual friends that Harden recently provided information to police, resulting in her boyfriend's arrest in California for a separate double murder case.
Now, before I get too deep, I want to get a timeline in place so you understand what's going on, because it gets a little messy, and trust me, you want to hear all of this. You see, the former lovers plotted the murder on November 30th. Then they met up with Rogers on December 6th, before she was reported missing on the 7th. After a preliminary investigation, law enforcement had enough to go ahead and arrest Harden on the 13th in Nevada, with Comanche also getting picked up on the 15th in Sacramento, by which time he'd already played a handful of games for the Stockton Kings after the murder. So he took someone's life and then went back to dropping buckets. His inmate record reveals that he had been arrested without a warrant for a PC 1551.1 felony. According to California state laws, this allows for an arrest without a warrant upon reasonable information that the accused stands charged in the courts of any other state with the crime punishable by death or imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year. But exactly what happened? How did this all go down now that we have the framework and understand the arrest and the timeline? What happened? Well, so the plan that Comanche and Harden came up with allegedly included the basketball player telling Rogers that he was into kinky sex and wanted to tie her up in a car. But this wasn't plan A, because initially there was a third person involved when they were still ironing out all the details of the murder, and they were planning to go out after taking this woman's life, so they were setting plans to hang out and go clubbing at the same time they were plotting a murder.
Comanche started a group chat with Harden that included a friend identified by police as Trey, who asked what Comanche wanted done to the victim. Comanche responded with a coffin emoji, and Harden with 2 peace sign emojis and a white dove. Trey eventually declined to be part of the murder plot, but Harden and Comanche continued planning. Comanche suggested getting Rogers drunk and mixing rat poison in her drink, or making her overdose on drugs, adding, "There's a lot of ways to kill people."
But back to the story. Comanche will later tell police that the whole kinky sex trying to tie her up stuff was to make Rogers defenseless in the car. At this point, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the murder itself, so brace yourselves. The G League player also revealed that once she was tied up, he wrapped an HDMI cord around her throat and then choked her. But he didn't take her life yet. He choked her for about 10 seconds, and when he saw that Rogers was really struggling to breathe, he let go. At this point, his ex-girlfriend Harden took over and choked Rogers out until she passed away. So apparently he started it and she would finish it. Now, once the deed was done, there was really only thing left to do: dispose of the body.
Cell phone data shows Harnden, Comanche, and Rogers traveling to a liquor store and then to a cul-de-sac, which is where Comanche and Harnden both strangled Rogers, according to information Comanche disclosed in an interview with police. He said afterward he and Harnden drove a short way into the desert and buried Rogers' body under rocks next to a road. Comanche pointed out the location of Rogers' body to police during his interview, and shortly afterward, her body was recovered.
Now, soon after his arrest, Comanche stated that he won't fight extradition, which means he'll be seeing the rest of this play out in Nevada. Meanwhile, Harnden is set for arraignment in February with court records revealing that her bond has been set to $500,000. And now, Comanche's NBA career is completely over, and we're just waiting to see how the sentences plays out. You see, Harnden and Comanche were originally just picked up on kidnapping charges, but now they've also had murder charges added to that. The penalties for first-degree murder in Nevada are the death penalty, life in prison without the possibility of parole, or life with parole after 20 years. For what it's worth, we know that Comanche has been pretty cooperative with the police since he told everybody exactly what happened, so it remains to be seen if that will lead to more lenient sentencing for the former G League player, as he probably will be able to dodge the death penalty, but I doubt that we'll be seeing him start any more games. So yes, while this story has been shocking, it probably would have been a lot more if it had been an actual NBA player instead of a guy from the G League, and whatever plans that he had for his future are completely over. And to be honest, it still isn't clear exactly why he signed up to be a part of a hit. The girl wasn't even his actual girlfriend, it was his ex-girlfriend, and somehow she was able to convince him to participate in the murder of someone he didn't know anything about. And all because maybe she stole something? Either way, this silly turn of events for this G League player means that he won't be touching the court anytime soon and will probably spend the majority of the rest of his life in jail, along with the person he committed the crime with. But this is a horrifying story, and you tell us what you think actually motivated this basketball player, because to be honest, I can't come to think of one reason why you would think this is a good idea. But that's our story, and we will keep you updated. I am Joe Stone, and this is the Church of Joe Stone podcast. Where cool comes to pray, you come to stand. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another video coming your way, where we find the most shocking and provocative stories in the culture and take them to church. I will see you in the next one.